Hey there, and welcome to the last episode of the Australia House Speedbuild. That doesn't mean it is done yet. There will be a wonderful tour in this habitat as well, in the whole area. But that said, this is also partly the reason why today this is a rather short episode of me finishing off the koala habitat. And that said, there will be a little few things I have changed along the way. So there are a few things that you guys will be able to spot in the tour that you haven't been seeing in the time lapse. But today let's focus on the wonderful koala habitat. And you've seen me doing the one koala habitat I did in Yosemite, and I wanted to make this one a little bit different here. So this one is going to be also separated into an indoor and outdoor area, which is just about the exact size that you will need. I was trying to make it a little bit smaller, but then again I needed to make it as big as I could, simply because these animals need quite a bit of space, you know. And I wanted to give them a certain feature that they will use climbing in the habitat, because as this game turns out, the animals spend quite a while in the trees, and I wanted to give the people in the house actually a good view of them and give the animals a reason to actually be inside and also outside. Now you will see that there are a few little things here. I took inspiration from real zoos. Like this house, as I said, should be, oops, I again hit my microphone quite hardly here. So I did actually look into some habitats that I've seen on Zoo Chat and stuff like that, and I found, especially for the koalas, there has been a real change in the last couple of years, that the direction goes a lot more into having bigger, more sizable, more free habitats for the animals, and also with some outdoor parts. And the one thing that I wanted to do with this house is to make it, like, really, as I said already in the last couple episodes, a very modern house that is focused on bringing welfare a bit more to the animals, rather than just having this house, you know. And I think at the end of the day I really succeeded translating this style into this house. I really tried to make sure that we made the best out of this old building and turn that into something more modern looking. And again, I really tried to focus on some enrichment items. I tried to focus on good viewing angles for the guests, but still having a lot of privacy for the animals themselves. So yeah, this was kind of the challenge between both. And I think the only animal that doesn't really have that much privacy at all is the cassowary, because this is just kind of plain open. Also, the kangaroo doesn't really have that much privacy, but they're actually really chill animals anyway. So maybe they would need a shelter. But you know, this whole house is the shelter of the animals, and these little staff areas I always dedicated to them are always meant to be also partly where the animals could go in our imagination. I didn't want to do the whole indoor area, you know, just because this house already is pretty much indoor. So yeah, that's just the simple reason. Also, you will notice that today's episode is rather short, which again refers back to the fact that there will not be a real-time part at the end. And also, I've been in such a crazy flow that again, this was super straightforward. Like, while I was building all the other habitats, I already had the idea in mind what I wanted to do for the koala habitat. And as I said, a few things are left out simply to have some little surprises for the tour. Nothing special, you know, nothing in particular, but just to make sure that there is a little reason for you to still watch the tour. While I'm hoping that you guys can't catch the rain, it's all of a sudden during this recording, the rain just started to be super heavy. And funny things, actually, the game has just launched while I'm recording that. The game just launched a few minutes ago, and I really do hope that you guys are as excited about this. Anyways, this episode will be somewhat next week already, or like at the weekend. I'm not even sure when exactly I'm going to upload this. I still have to schedule that, so maybe the hype is already over its peak, so to say. Still very high, but still over its peak already, because there has been quite a stuff already out there. But yeah, so today's habitat is really focused on finishing off this house as much as I could, giving the koalas a cool little experience, and also giving the guests the experience they need. Trying to deal the best way possible with the trees available. I would have loved to use the bigger trees, but you know, again, in this house you have to deal with what is fitting. And then I figured, you know what, with all these wonderful new pieces, we can do another enrichment item. And honestly, I love these new log pieces. The coloring on them is just absolutely spot on, and I love that we have now a new variant. So we do have these very darkish ones from the actual climbing pieces. We do have some rather brownish ones from the timber pieces from, I think it's North American area stuff. We have those branches, as you can see, and then now we have these wonderful, very bright logs, like almost birch tree color logs. I don't even know which one it is, if it's oak or birch or whatever. But yeah, it's really cool. I love that so much, and I'm super happy that we do have those pieces. Yeah, I wanted to connect this with some of the ropes because the cool bit about the animals is they can actually use the rope, which is pretty cool. And I gotta say that they finally made an animation that really looks pretty spot on when it comes to the size of the objects. So you can really tell if the koala is going over a rope or over a big log. So there is not the same animation as it is, for example, for the lemurs or so. It is actually spot on. So if it's really for the rope, you can see how much more tight they put their feet. It looks really cool. And if they go on a bigger log, you can really see how they place them more to the left and to the right. I really do think this makes a huge difference. And yeah, also I wanted to make like a little raised platform here. The reason being is to just give them a little bit more traversable area, just in general, just kind of cheat this in a bit. That was the only reason, to give them a bit of bedding over here. And we will also make like a little fake tree that goes in the middle here, just to make sure that this somewhat vanishes in the background here. Even though this enrichment item over here is not an enrichment item for the animals, I thought it would still just fit, because they could just go they still go through it, and they kind of use it even though it doesn't really enrich them. But I think I just figured it looks good, and at the end of the day, you can also play around with different types of enrichment items. Even though they don't use them, it's still kind of scenery, and so I think it's totally valid and fine to put this down. Yeah, now all the rock work is going to be happening now. Actually, I gotta say, maybe it's a bit surprising, but I did use mostly the already existing in-game desert rock. The reason for doing so is mainly that as I already explained, I was a little bit afraid of how this would look when I give this to you guys as a blueprint for a more temperate zoo, and I didn't want to make the contrast so high, so I made sure to only use the desert rock as a really highlight piece, so that it doesn't really, it's just too overwhelming, because it's kind of very orange, which looks absolutely phenomenal outside in this biome over here. And I think it also looks good when you really dedicate to the color. That definitely does look good. But if you use it as a normal rock piece, it might be getting some issues with the contrast rather quickly, and so I decided against it and used some more of the other piece. You can really see that I'm now carefully placing down some plants and stuff, just to make sure that this all looks good. Also wanted to have a few more eucalyptus trees here, just to make sure that this area looks rather finished. And just all over, I'm quite happy with how this habitat turns out rather quickly. And you can really tell, like, from the time lapse, we are not even 10 minutes in, and this looks already pretty finished. And I'm again super happy with how much of a flow I had. I really wish I have it more often. The one big advantage of having early access is that I didn't really talk about that, but for me personally, early access is the best thing that can ever happen, because if we would get the game right off, as let's say like everyone, I would somehow struggle to put out content for you guys in the first couple minutes, and I want to help you guys to decide whether you can buy this DLC or not. Whenever I think there is something that you shouldn't do, I can always tell this, but I have to play it beforehand to really get you guys a qualified opinion on that, and also to prepare some content. It would lead to a really crazy rush, and I do remember that for some games I don't really have that big of a connection to. Or in the past, when the channel has been way smaller, you never actually get early access. It always kind of leads to a really crazy, stressful rush at the beginning. You just try to be out there, and so it's just natural that the quality of what you produce is lacking. It's just natural. You just can't do premium quality while being the first. That just doesn't work. And so it's really enjoyable, and relaxing to have early access. And actually, I'm really thankful that Frontier in the past year changed their approach a little bit, and we get early access quite early on, which is nice. And so we have some time to prepare quality content for you guys. And I want to thank, at this point in time, I really want to thank Frontier again, because this opportunity still is not normal for me, and I still very much see this as a big gift. And I'm really thankful to them that they give me the chance to prepare this stuff for you guys. And honestly said, this again helps me to provide you guys with the content, and being that chill and relaxed that I know, okay, first of all, I can't upload this already the day I'm building that, because I'm not allowed. And also, everyone has the same chances at launch day, and you can just prepare your stuff without actually being in a kind of competition situation anyways. It's really relaxing, and that is a good feeling, and I really hope that this can be happening even more often, because it's just really, really cool. And obviously, you know, as always, we can't really tell you anything ahead of time, and I will never do, because sometimes there is no early access, and you will never know if there is or not. And so to say, just to assume it would be a big issue. And so it's just always the better way to not say anything. And if there's some content, you can be happy, and if not, we are all enjoying it at the very first moment together. And I'm still enjoying it, because sometimes, you know, they still add some new stuff in the final release version that hasn't been in early access, so it's always a little bit of a surprise. Never mind, that was a little excursion to early access and why I think it's great and why I'm so thankful that they did it. And now with the final touches here, it is already going to the end of today's episode. And you can really tell, again, here's another little bit of inspiration with this little raised planter over here. You see that quite often in indoor habitats. It's, at least in Germany, you see that quite often in indoor houses, that they have these raised planters to just make this all look a bit more overgrown, and just take away a little bit from the more or less sterile and just very clean looks. And yeah, you can actually tell now we are getting to the final bits here of the house, and I'm super happy with how it turned out. Honestly, I haven't really dreamed of. But yeah, good thing is, after the tour tomorrow, you'll be able to download the full habitat over here, the entire house with everything that is connected to it. And you know, you already potentially have the barebone version if I made this possible for you, and if not, you will finally get this big house now for you. But yeah, that should be it from my side for the commentary. Just gently moving now into the end of today's episode. I really do hope you liked this approach on the Australia house. Now we will move on with Thumber Lake and with everything else, and Yosemite and maybe some other stuff. Be excited, there's a lot more planned, but for now I'm in my holidays and I will chill and relax a little bit now, so don't expect too much content coming out next. It's done now. Okay, but anyways guys, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed, and yeah, I see you in the next one. Thank you for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. I really hope you enjoyed it, and yeah, I was really happy to have you here. In case you enjoyed it and you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to consider subscribing. You can do it via this button here, and if you want to see more, there's some cool other stuff linked here for you. This is suggested for you personally. That's pretty cool. And in case you want to support the channel a tiny bit more, you can do it via this wonderful Hype Camel link over here. I really would appreciate it. And also, big thank you already to all the people who do already support the channel. Really do appreciate that. But now, have a wonderful time, guys, and I catch you in the next one.